became compliant with the constitutional rights of Jordan Grove. But watch the video, because the video does not lie. And it proves that the sworn allegations in the criminal complaint are false, and the filing of them an act of perjury. So again, I tell you, these false words sworn to by officers of the NYPD, they are cracking the pillars of our firm government. Now, if we are to firm up the foundation of our government, we're to strengthen these pillars by ensuring the true administration of justice. This supervising officer must be brought to face appropriate repercussions for these acts. We have filed the Civilian Complaint Review Board complaints about that night. And although they have a less than 10% substantiation rate, we believe, because we've given them video evidence this time, we've given them standard criminal complaints showing that they contradict each other, that they have no other way but to substantiate these complaints. And I urge all of you here to call the CCRB and ask them to substantiate these charges at 800-341-CCRB. And we've written to the District Attorney's Office, and we've written to the Attorney General's Office, and we've written to the U.S. Attorney's Office, and we've asked them to help repair the foundation of our government by ensuring the true administration of justice. Prosecute this sergeant for these false arrests. Prosecute the sergeant for these lies. And prosecute him for the knowing deprivation of civil liberties of Jordan Grove and Christian Gutierrez last year. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Wiley Stecklow. It is really just a pleasure to see all of you guys out here on this nice, wonderful spring night. Right now, I'd like to introduce Jessica Ratschafer from the Radical Homosexual Agenda. Jessica.
I spent many years as an avid cyclist, but due to an injury, I had a long hiatus from cycling out of fear of being re-injured while riding in city streets. I learned about critical mass in 2004. I was in Union Square observing the beginning of the ride, and I realized what a fun and safe way this would be to be acquainted with my bicycle. My first critical mass ride was in 2004 of October. I was so excited to be back on my bike. Unfortunately, during that ride, I was arrested. But that did not deter me from riding in it again. Why? Everyone here standing here knows why. Because we're all in the same boat. It's because we know we have the right to ride, and we refuse to be intimidated by the cops. And I still ride, not only because I rediscovered my love of bicycling, but I saw a critical mass was a wonderful and safe way to ride a bike. Since 2005, I decided that it would be a great idea to start commuting into work. My commute is shorter by bicycle than it is by subway, and it's also cheaper. One day on my way into work, a car sped past and yelled at me. "Get out of the road," he shouted. I saw that car stopped in traffic, and I said to the driver, "What's wrong? You jealous of me because of high gas prices?" He paused, and he was surprised. He said, "Yeah, in fact I am." That's when I realized we're actually making this city a better place by riding our bikes. Even for the SUV drivers, we're making it a better place. Critical Mass is an ad hoc community that gathers every month to foster a transportation that is cheap, clean, and efficient. It's shameful that Mayor Bloomberg, City Council Speaker Christy Quinn, and Ray Kelly are not forward-thinking enough to understand the potential of both non-polluting transportation and spontaneous community gathering. There is no reason why New York should not rival Amsterdam as a cyclist haven. Instead, our so-called city leaders see us as a menace. I can't think of anything further from the truth. If there's anything that's a menace during this ride, it's the cops who are reckless. During the rides, they speed down the streets and even on the sidewalks in their scooters. In December 2004, I saw masses of police scooters speeding on the sidewalks of Lexington Avenue. On the April 2005 ride, I saw an SUV driver on 8th Avenue intentionally hit a cyclist and then yell at the cyclist shouting, "I told you to get the fuck out of my way." What did these guys do? They simply ran his license through and let him go. That night, they arrested 30 cyclists, 2 of whom were just standing on the sidewalks with their bikes. In August 2005, these cops were busy yanking people off their bicycles, and a grandmother was struck down and killed on 14th Street by a car. The driver of that car received only a summons. These are just a couple of examples of the actions of the so-called heroes of 9/11 known as the NYPD. They are not heroes. It is critical to remember that freedom is not only freedom of assembly. We are here, it is also freedom of movement. We are here to say no to the thugs in blue. The NYPD has the blessing of self-proclaimed progressive, yeah right, City Council Speaker Christine Quinn and Mayor Bloomberg. They prefer to ignore such constitutional niceties such as the First Amendment. Chris Quinn has colluded with the NYPD and rubber-stamped the parade permit regulations. She has praised the regulations, stating that they ensure, quote, security concerns while protecting constitutional rights. We all know this is crap. Yet, she remains silent regarding the massive arrests of people during the Republican National Convention. Speaker Quinn was silent when queers protesting the parade permit regulations last August were attacked by cops in front of the World Trade Center. She said nothing about the mass arrest of school kids going to a wake this past May, and she was silent about the NYPD's refusal to grant a permit for the Trans March this past June. As a queer woman, I say to Quinn, with friends like her, who needs enemies? And who needs hypocrites like Chris Quinn in office anyway?
Whoa!
This past Wednesday, City Council member Rosie Mendez introduced a bill revising the parade permit regulations. While this bill is a good start, it falls short of protecting our freedom of assembly. The Mendez bill raises the quota to 100 people, which is a tiny number in a city of 8 million. Her bill also gives loopholes to allow police to arrest demonstrators. When will City Council finally do their job and enforce constitutional rights? Right. We have to let them know that we are angry. We are right. Mayor Bloomberg and Speaker Quinn and the NYPD are wrong. Unlike cars, these cyclists do not clog city streets, idle in the way, and filling the air with pollution and filth. And we get out of the way much faster than a fire truck should a fire truck come down the street. How can you be more safe than that? I encourage all of you to keep riding. Tell your friends, do not be afraid. Refuse to be intimidated by the police. It's a long battle, but through perseverance, we will win. Yes. More bikes, less cars!
More bikes, less cars! More bikes, less cars! More bikes, less cars! More bikes, less cars!
And more bikes, less cops!
All right, thank you very much, Jessica. Right now, I'm about to introduce a man who I think everyone here knows. I don't think he really needs me to introduce him. So that would be Norman Siegel. His wonderful career through all of our freedoms to assemble in New York for so very long. It's a real pleasure. Norman Siegel. Thank you all.
Welcome, Norman.
Tonight is the first year anniversary of the 50-person permit rule. The 50-person permit rule must be overturned. The 50-person permit rule never made sense a year ago, and it doesn't make sense tonight. When I grew up in Brooklyn, we had a term for these kinds of ideas. We called it cockamamie. For those of you who are not from Brooklyn, cockamamie means it doesn't make any sense. It's crazy. If I have a First Amendment right to stand in a public place and speak, I do not, in a constitutional democracy, have to ask anyone for permission to speak